Howdy folks, we're in the living room now and we're on to our next project. And as you can see, it is the major tree in the house, 9-footer. It's from Balsam Hill. It's a balsam fir model. A very full tree. Let me just move this out for a second so you get a chance just to see what the tree looks like. This phone's gonna track me now. So if I move completely out of the way, it'll follow me as opposed to the tree. As you can see, I've used yellow lights, about 1,000. And when I started to think about what I want to do with this tree, a little unusual this year. A lot is going on. Just recently retired, so we've got a lot of different projects going on at the time. And the only thing I really thought about is kind of a theme with the gnomes, but more of a color theme with the earth tones of brown and green and gold. Well, I'm back. As you can see, I have just the top down, and it's not completed, but very much close to it. Only thing I'm a little indecisive on at this point is the acorn at the very top, and it's the color that's throwing me off a little bit. But in some ways, I kind of like it, that it's a little bit different because it shows off. Like, in the old days when I was a kid and they'd put a star at the top of the tree, the typical lights were multicolored lights, but the star was always white. So I'm gonna leave it alone for now and just see how I like it. Um, so far, I'm kind of liking the three colors they're showing up. I've used the felted ornaments, and it represents the three colors of dark brown, almost looks black. And that's why I paired it with the ivory right next to it. Hopefully you can tell, I can see it in person. And then the dark brown, and then the gold is in the leaves. So what comes next is going to be the ribbon, and I'm just still a puzzle at what to do with it. Welcome, designers, to my final video in our decorating series for 2024. I'm finishing up with my 2024 Christmas trees. This is the big one. This is the 9-foot living room tree. It's the balsam fir from Balsam Hill. It's the one with the real touch to it and look to it. If you were up this close as me right now, you would think it was a real tree. It looks like a real tree. It almost feels like a real tree. So I'm looking at how it turned out, and I am pleased. I think it came out better than I anticipated. I changed the design completely about halfway through. I ended up with this kind of bow theme, which I'm not a big bow person, as well you know, because I've mentioned it before. So I decided to exaggerate it. And so there's like 6 bows that are positioned on this 6-inch beautiful ribbon. I have some here. This is the 6-inch taupe velour ribbon, gorgeous, wired. And then there's the jeweled, this is actually ribbon 2, it's on a netting. And I just put a glue dot every so often and came out with a whole new ribbon, which is quite elegant. And I just put down 3 of them. And ribbon was a big theme this year, and what I discovered for the very first time by using as much ribbon as I did, you need a lot of ribbon with these big trees. So this was something like 10 yards of ribbon, and but I'm pleased. I think I still love the color combinations of the dark green
And there's some black in there too, and the brown, and even some lighter brown. And these felted ornaments also come in this kind of ivory color as well. But I couldn't just leave the tree just with something that's kind of flat like that. You have to, I like sparkle, and you want these to pop too. So I placed in some glass, shiny, shiny, very beautiful, but kind of, I mean, this is delicate, but simple, but enough to kind of just make the tree pop. And this I have to show you. It's one of my favorite pieces to put on any tree. It'll go on any tree that you want. They're sold at Michael's. Every year I get a different color: red, green, gold, silver, whatever. And I get about 20 of them. They're a buck a piece. By the time you take the 50% off, they're a buck a piece. And all I do is I just bend it in this arc and I spread these out, and then you just stick them into the tree where you want them. And they cascade down, and they just provide this glow almost to the tree. And I think it just raises the level of the tree instantly. I want you to see the pine cone at the top. I changed that a little bit from, I had used fairy lights, and they were 2 reels of fairy lights. And I wrapped it around the outside. And it was just too bright, a little garish. So what I decided to do instead, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to do a side shot, which you'll be able to see it a little bit better, is I literally took an awl, it's plastic, and punched like 100 holes in it. And then I stuffed the fairy lights inside so that they're emanating out. And I think it came out so nice. I mean, I think you'll see it a little bit better when you see it from the side. So that's the living room tree. And what I do when I do the mantle is I try to kind of carry the theme onto the mantle. And we're very fortunate in this house. We have 4 fireplaces, and they're each very, very unique. This one's uniqueness is this beautiful green tile, original to 1903. And I just kind of mimic what's there, and I put it there. And I have about 3 of this size wreath, one for each of the major rooms. So I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to pan the tree so you can get a little bit of a close-up of the ribbon and some of the ornaments.
And here we are in the foyer, half reception room. And this is what I call, this is tree number 2, my traditional tree. It's the real tree. I couldn't possibly go a year without having um, a live tree or a real tree as part of Christmas. It's too much a memory of childhood. This one is a Fraser fir, so it doesn't have as much scent as the balsams do, but it does hold its needles a little bit better, and we need that in this house. This tree has a whole kind of different purpose. I do try to include some of the colors that are the theme this year with the brown, a little bit of ivory, and then there's the green up there. But it's really an homage to years past. Most of the decorations that are on this tree are at the very least 20, 25 years old. They're my favorites. They're what are left after that many years. Unfortunately, glass ornaments are extremely delicate, and to put them away safely for a whole year takes some care. I want to just point out a few because they are, dear to my heart. And you can't get them too much anymore. I mean, Christopher Radko ornaments um, are one, they're lovely. They're extraordinarily expensive. They have more of a singular theme to them. A good many of them are Santas in various poses and so forth. But these ornaments are really unique. So I'm going to show you probably what is my favorite ornament. And I got many of these at Macy's. I'm dating myself way, way back, 25 plus years ago. And this one is a Santa, hand painted on the front with little feathers, and that's the color on the back, all glass. I always try to get with unique ornaments. I always try to get 3, and I've managed after 25 years to hold on to those 3. There's another one here. That's a rose in gold, all glass. Very pretty. Let's see if I can find 1 or 2 more. Oh, I have to mention this. Well, let me start with probably one of my most favorites next to the little Santas. I used to have 2. I'm down to 1. I used to have a gold one, a silver one, and this gold one. I'm down just to the gold. And as you can hear, even as they brush against the branches, how thin the glass is. Some are just less than paper thin. And I absolutely love any of the clip-on ornaments. They're my favorites too. You have to be kind of patient as you clip them on so that they're not looking like they're leaning. And let's see if I have any more. Oh, here's one right here in front. This beautiful gold Christmas tree. And this beautiful pattern. It's almost hard to see unless you get up close to it. Those are all old. And even the teeny tiny ones up here, like this one in Little Santa with the blue hat. I treasure those. Now, this year, I'm going to show you just really quickly the ones that I got this year. Somehow I found them. Don't ask me how. Nutcracker. Isn't it awesome? I love it. I got 3 different colors. So around the tree there is a red and blue hat one, and then there's a gold one on this side. And then there's 2 sizes. There's this size, and then there's that size. And then I found these to go with, with my theme of the gnomes and the mushrooms, all glass, all the way under. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely love it. I go very gently with them. And as I mentioned in the living room, I try to get these. This is a different color. This is almost a coppery color as opposed to the gold that was in the living room. And it just adds a whole nother layer to it. So very, very pretty. And this is the original green ribbon with the gold trim. And when I first ordered it, I thought I had enough again, but this is an 8-foot tree. And originally I wanted to kind of weave it around and maybe at least have 3 strands, but I couldn't even make 3 strands because it wasn't enough. So I created that topper with bows. So it gets back to that kind of bow theme as well. So I'm going to stop here and get around on this side over here and show you the second mantle. And now I'm on the other side of our second tree, and which was kind of hiding our new little Christmas mascot, Ralph the reindeer. I saw him at Home Depot, believe it or not, and I became fascinated by it. Normally, and he's animated, and he plays music. And normally things like that have to be fairly realistic and not looking too plastic and so forth for me to enjoy. But the minute I saw this, I just fell in love with it. And but I wouldn't have normally. I didn't want to spend the money for it. But it ended up being a gift from my sister, so I want to plug it in for you so you can listen. And he runs by an automatic sensor. So what it does is goes through about, I don't know, I'd say about 8 different songs. And you could just be passing by, not thinking of a thing, and the sensor will send it into a one song at a time. And it's just, I, I just think it's a great addition to this room, which is, like I said, it's a reception room. And which is unusual. It's only nobody has reception rooms per se anymore. But this is a 1903 home, and it's the first room that when guests would enter into the house, they would come into this room. So and it's become really a favorite of ours. In the mornings we have breakfast in here, which is really nice, and it has this big beautiful window that lets in wonderful light. We don't put anything to cover it over. So I thought this was a nice place to put our second tree, and the fact that it is real. This mantle, I'm going to switch over here to this side. I'm going to hug Ralph here, and I'm just going to just briefly go over the mantle. Again, this is more reflective of the mantle that's in the other room in terms of decoration. I did buy a few new ornaments. And these, for example, this one here, it's kind of stuck. I may not be able to get it out. Here we go. It's almost like that mercury glass, really heavy. This is a heavy ornament. If this were to be put on a real tree, it would weigh it way down. So I got this one. I love the look of it. The gold. Got to be careful at its position because it could roll right off the mantle. And then there's this silver one here in the middle. And then we have the felted pieces as well. And this is a very old wreath that my Aunt Polly had made for my mom about 60 plus years ago, and usually goes up almost every year. And I did have to replace the ribbon because it was pretty well shot. So this is kind of like the memory room. And these are new, and I filled them with the felt balls, and then at least one full reel of fairy lights that are on a rotating flash and flicker, which I think is nice. I think my goal for next year will be to beef up the mantles, and with the garland being a little bit more of a focus, because there's really some wonderful details with the egg and dart and a little beading here that you really want to play up at Christmas time, or any time actually. So this is tree 2, and we're going to move on to tree 3, which is right behind the door that you can't see right now, but it's the door that leads to our porch. Okay, right now you're looking through our reception room door at the tree that sits on the porch. It's a flocked tree. It comes in 2 pieces. I've had that for 22, at least 22 years. Heavy, 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 super heavy tree to drag up from the basement to put out on our porch. But it does look out over 2 huge windows to the street, so everyone gets a chance to see it. It's quite nice. And here we are at our 4th tree, which is a relatively new tree. I purchased this maybe 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. It's a 7-foot flocked pencil tree, super skinny tree. So this one is decorated with one of the most gorgeous velour or velvet ribbons. It's the color, believe it or not, even though it looks brown, it's called olive, and if you see it in the right light, it is kind of an olivey, brownish color. It's just perfect for the theme this year. And it looks perfect, I think, at the top of the stairs. We are at the top landing, or the first landing of the staircase. And there's a small flocked wreath right behind it, unlit, just so that the tree itself becomes the focal part. So that's the 4th tree.